Well, this is definitely a bummer, friends. I I sort of committed the cardinal sin. I probably spent an hour creating a video and then realized that OBS was not recording. So, fortunately, I'm not enraged. I'm just a little bummed out. But I am going to go ahead and show you a couple things here. Okay, so now that we are recording, I'm going to make this bigger, not to punish you and make you look at my ugly face, but okay, so we were playing around with, by the way, I've got the headphones on because I'm listening to the Beatles today. Right now it's Fool on the Hill, Magical Mystery Tour. So anyway, so Valerie and I were sort of working on the concepts. You can see the eyes, okay? That those eyes are sort of a composite approach, combining what I was seeing in Detective Conan that I liked, and Seven Deadly Sins, which is a Netflix original anime, and Valerie really likes she likes the way they do the eyes on that show. So I'm actually just resizing this right now. Okay. So I'm going to show you real quick what the equation is that gives you the eyes we're talking about. Basically, it's funny because I was drawing the eyes like I'm watching Detective Conan, and I was really liking the fact that they had these eyes that basically look like this. So you had these pupils inside an iris zone, and then this real blatant highlight area. And on that show, again, it's called Detective Conan. It's been on for like 22 years. The eyes are, for every character, are either this or pretty much just this, you know, which I like a lot. I like the simplicity of it. I've said in other videos I like Studio Trigger's work, Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia. They tend to use eyes like this fairly frequently. In any case, I'm gonna go ahead and make my eraser real big so I can just like erase this sort of the hard way really fast. So in Seven Deadly Sins, the approach to eyes, and this is really important because you got to draw a lot of eyes, you know. The basic equation is there's dot, 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 dot. Okay, so you have something like this. This tends to be left white. This tends to be left white. You have a slightly oval iris area, usually a more oval pupil area, and then you've got an area of dark color here, an area of slightly lighter color here, and even lighter color here. Okay, now I gotta make sure my eraser isn't too big. Then you tend to have a highlight up here, a highlight down here, and actually an area right here under the pupil that's the lightest of all. So if this was an emerald or green color, you would have 1, 2, 3, actually 4 tones of green in that eye, plus your highlight, and then plus your pupil. And it's really great because when you watch the show, especially if you're not right up in the screen like this, it looks like they have an actual gradient in all the eyes when in fact they don't. I can show you. I don't know if this. I don't think this is a shot from the show. I think it's like some fan art or something, but you can kind of see. Because you wouldn't see all these soft edges in the show itself. The edges are nice and crisp, but this art does pretty much get it right in terms of the combination of colors and shapes that make up the way they do their eyes. So we sort of decided we like that approach to eyes, and so that's how we're going to do it. So anyway, and I'm going to make this video short since I've already spent an hour talking and then discovered that that I wasn't recording. That's okay. So here's the other thing I'll show you. I guess I could make this big again. Okay. So this is just a sequence of shots that makes up essentially what will become the storyboard, then the animatic, and then the animation for this show. So what we have is Akari, and I already drew this, on camera, and you guys missed it. Sorry about that. So Akari's sleeping. It comes up from black, as you see in my notes here, and there's a slow pull out, right? Okay. And then, and what I'm doing here in Opentoonz is I'm just creating the keyframes. I can always drag these down like that, you see, and change the timing and actually work all that out. But for right now, I just want to see the individual shots, right? Okay, so the second shot, I'm thinking we're going to do a jump cut. And one thing you notice when we do the jump cut is that there are these beams of light coming in. Okay, now she's asleep, not necessarily snoring, and she rolls over this way into those beams of light, which causes her to sort of wrinkle her nose and squint her eyes a little bit in her sleep. And I know this doesn't really look like a girl right here. I'm not concerning myself a ton with whether this really looks like Akari, because her design isn't completely finalized yet anyway. So, but okay, so she rolls over, and that causes her to roll back over the other way, okay? All right, and now we get a context shot. So after she rolls over, we get this context shot, which, by the way, I drew 3 times. I adjusted the framing 3 times. Let me see if I still have them. Yeah, it's really going to be hard to see here. I don't think this is going to be worth anything for you, but maybe. If I change this to be darker, it might help. Nope, that doesn't really help. Okay, so anyway, but I framed it with the window up a little higher. Then I sort of moved the window out, and then I decided let's actually give it some context, which is what you see here in the final frame, so that we can see why there's light coming in the window. There's the moon, and you see mountains in the background, and she's actually located in like a Tibetan monastery is where she's been raised. So, all right, so I need to change this back to blue. Yeah, that's cool. All right, and one thing I wanted to mention is, like here on the bedpost, this isn't a final decision by any means, but I'm really thinking about the details. Gosh, details like the wallpaper, on the wall behind her. What kind of designs are we going to have in that wallpaper? And the curtains, what do we see on the curtains? What about the windowsill? And then here, of course, obviously, we're the bedpost. Why is that the head of a horse, or maybe even a unicorn? So these are just ideas I'm tossing out there to suggest something. What are we trying to suggest? I'm not sure yet, other than the fact that I'm pretty sure she is located in a Tibetan monastery, and so we want to have some context that gives a sense of that place. So we get that, and then this shot can be deleted, obviously. Whoops. Okay. Well, that didn't work. So actually what I need to do is hit the erase key. Just erase that. Okay, so what Akari does not know when she rolls over like this, I got some bad news for you, Akari. Because what we're going to do here, let me think about this a bit. I'm going to put in an establishing shot. I haven't yet done the research on Tibetan monasteries. Okay, so what the exterior of it would look like, I'm not really sure, and I'm not going to really try to guess. But let's assume, for the sake of toying around with ideas, that there's some concept of a tower with other buildings, either surrounding or behind it, and blah, 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 blah. So given that, the idea here is that there is a balcony. Okay. So I'm going to put some, what do you call the gargoyles? You know, some gargoyles or something. All right, so, but let's just say that's ornate in some way. But my concept here is that we want to have the sense of this is the window, and we probably are going to want to have the moonlight reflected against this wall. Because, you know, contextually, we're going from this to this. And one could argue that maybe we should have another frame in between that's even a wider shot that shows the whole castle. I'm going to leave that up in the air at the moment. The idea being, do we want people to understand that this is a castle, or is it enough to just show the, you know, if you see the walls, you see the balcony, you know it's something, it's not modern, you know, and it's not you know, here in Indiana. Okay, so let's assume we're going to leave it at that. So then what's actually going to happen here is we're going to pan down. Okay? And the reason we're going to pan down is because we're going to discover ninjas, 2 ninjas to be specific, climbing this wall. Okay. So these guys are going this way. So the camera would pan down, and as the camera's, in fact, I should write this in my notes. As camera pans down, the 2 ninjas climb into frame. Whoops. Okay, I can't apparently spell very well. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that for now. So then what happens after this is we'll be cutting to a close-up of the ninjas that are climbing the wall. And there's going to be a couple things that are sort of funny that happen with those guys. So anyway, that's the beginning of the storyboard. And we'll be working out this whole storyboard. And then from there, working out the timing of the shots, working out camera motion, and then dealing with in-betweens and actual animation. So that's it for today, and I'll be back again soon.